It is the weekend, and guess what? That means it is a Crime Talk recap. So all those people that want to leave me a comment to say, hey, didn't I see this already? Maybe you did, but all the top stories are conveniently located in one spot, hence the name Recap. Hope you enjoy it. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk. Next on the docket, some of the family members in the Idaho college campus slaying, well, saying they lost faith and confidence in the police. Now, Steve Goncalves, the father of University of Idaho murder victim Kaylee Goncalves, said that he has lost confidence in the police investigation surrounding his daughter's death as a result of poor communication and a lack of progress in the case. It leaves the victims' families desperate for answers. Now, Mr. Goncalves vowed to continue speaking out publicly and has encouraged the other victim's family to do the same in advance. Mr. Goncalves said that his daughter, Kaylee, had injuries that were significantly more brutal than the other victims, which is driving theories that she was the target of the quadruple homicide. Kaylee's family revealed her injuries over the weekend were more extensive than those suffered by Zaina Kernodle, her boyfriend Ethan Chapin, or even Maddie Mogan, who was in the bed when they were murdered on November 13th, when they were in the same bed on November 13th. Now, the family is growing increasingly frustrated with the bungled police investigation into their daughter's murder, which has so far produced no real leads or suspects. The family is turning to a private investigator to help them try to find out some answers. I'm not sure what private investigator will be able to do that the police haven't already done, but you never know. They're going to go back and look at everything. It could help. Now, Kaylee's father said that he was horrified to learn that some of the detectives on the murder unit within the Moscow Police Department were in only their mid-20s. He says they're very inexperienced, and he doesn't want anyone making mistakes on his child's case. He previously said that Kaylee's injuries were worse than the other kids, but he didn't go into detail. Now, he fumed over the weekend that detectives are allowing the case to go cold, and that while they may not appreciate his continued interaction with the media, it's necessary to find his daughter's killer. He also revealed during an interview this weekend that the police have asked him not to specify whether he believes his daughter was the intended target. He said, quote, "I probably over-disclosed information that they wish I wouldn't have said, but the story's going cold. There's less people coming to Moscow. I'm not going to go to sleep in my bed knowing that I could get up and I could go to town and I could do something, and I'm not going to go away." He says he hates to be the pain, but as father, he can't sleep thinking I could be doing something. Now, for those who aren't familiar, Kaylee Madison, their roommate Zaina Kernodle, and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin were stabbed to death on November 13th, likely where they were sleeping. Kaylee and Madison were sleeping on the third floor, and Zaina and Ethan were on the second floor. Cops said that the killer entered the house through a sliding glass door on the second floor, which was level with the backyard. Now, two of the roommates in the house were there but were unharmed and were unaware that the attack even occurred. They were sleeping down on the first floor. Cops have said some of the victims had defensive wounds, but who or how many remain unclear. And Mr. Goncalves said Saturday that Kaylee and Madison appeared to have died in different ways. He said, quote, "I'll cut to the chase. Their means of death don't match." Kaylee's father, Stephen Goncalves, said Kaylee and Madison Mogan were sleeping in the same bed when the attack occurred. Their points of damage don't match. He added, "I'm just going to say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned it. I paid for that funeral. I sent my daughter to college and she came back in a box, and I can speak on that." My heart goes out to each and every one of the family members in this particular case. I couldn't imagine what they must be going through, and the fact that they can't get any real answers thus far has got to be frustrating. So if anyone has, somebody knows something, someone has said something to someone, and that person who has that information should come forward for the families in this particular case. Like many Americans, we got a dog during the pandemic. My quarantine dog, Miss Winnie the bulldog. Now, Miss Winnie has grown accustomed to being around us all the time. When we were leaving the house, Winnie would have extreme anxiety, so we decided to look for natural products to help with her anxiety. We looked for the highest quality CBD treats, and we were not satisfied, and neither was Winnie. So we created a high-quality CBD product that absorbs faster and provides the required results faster. Baked in Colorado, CBD treats and beverage enhancers are made with nanotechnology. The nanotechnology makes the CBD extraction more pure, also allows for Baked in Colorado products to work faster. Baked in Colorado products can help reduce your pet's anxiety, ease joint pain, and help with your dog's skin problems. Go to our online store and see what Baked in Colorado product is best for your dog. When you order at bakedincolorado.com, enter code WINNIE and receive 15% off your first order. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If your dog does not experience the desired results in 30 days, return the product and we will refund your money. No questions asked. All right, the police in Idaho snapping back a little bit, and then they also say, well, we still need your help. So the police in Idaho say they are now seeking more information on the earlier movements of the 2 college students killed in the quadruple homicide last month. And they are denying telling the family of victim Kaylee Goncalves, that's right, soft C apparently, almost sounds like an S, that her injuries were more brutal than those of other victims. Now, in the latest statement on November 13th, the Moscow, not the Moscow Police Department, as people have been trying to tell me. So apparently it's Moscow, not Moscow. We pronounce it like we see it. There you go. Anyway, the Moscow Police Department said on Monday that it's now looking for information regarding the movements of Ethan Chapin and Zaina Kernodle, who visited Ethan's fraternity house hours before the murders. Police believe Ethan and Zaina visited the Sigma Chi house on the University of Idaho campus from about 9 p.m. on November 12th until about 1:45 a.m. when they returned to Zaina's off-campus home, obviously just a brief walk away. That actually seems to be one of the larger areas that we don't have a lot of information in or about, according to the Idaho State Police Communications Director, a guy by the name of Aaron Snell. Well, tensions are also growing between the investigators and the families, if not at least one family of the victims, who has spoken out about frustration about the failure to identify a suspect. Kaylee's father stated that police had told him her injuries were worse than the other victims, but he wouldn't go into detail. And the Moscow Police Department contradicted that remark in a new statement. Quote, "With the active criminal investigation, law enforcement has not released additional facts to the family or the public." The statement added that there have been statements and speculation about this case, victim injuries, cause of death, evidence collection, and processing and investigative techniques. However, we firmly believe speculation and unvetted information is a disservice to the victims, their families, and our community. The statement continued. The Moscow Police Department is committed, they say, to providing information whenever possible, but not at the expense of compromising the investigation and the prosecution. Police also said that they looked into the theory that Kaylee had a stalker. Police made a statement in mid-October that 2 males appeared to follow Kaylee inside the local business and then followed her out to her car, but they never made any contact with her. Now, after speaking with the 2 males, police determined it to be an isolated incident and said that there was no evidence to suggest that they were involved in the murder in any way. Now, this update on Monday revealed that there were 2 males inside the unknown business before they parted ways, with one male following Goncalves into the business. He was then seen following her outside the business as she walked to her car. The male turned away from her, and it did not appear he made any contact with her, according to the police. Police did not say which business this alleged incident occurred. The police have apparently contacted both males and learned that the 2 were attempting to meet women at the business, which was corroborated through additional investigation, which basically means, I guess, they were hanging out at the establishment, hitting on girls by creeping them out, I guess. Police also revealed that there was no evidence, physical evidence, of something of evidentiary value on Miss Gonsalvez's dog, Murphy, who was at the scene when the police arrived, and has not yet been determined which room the dog was in when the murders took place. We'll keep you updated. Some people have a real problem with the police releasing anything. Why don't interfere? Well, in this particular case, the police are really telling us they've got nothing. And so when you have nothing, you have to go to the people. Well, and the people feel empowered, I think, to help and to provide information when they feel as though the police are being honest with them. If they said, hey, we don't have anything, we need your help, I think people would say, let's help. Let's see what we can do. Obviously, we don't want innocent people maligned or arrested for a crime they didn't do, but someone somewhere knows something. And if you're the family of any of those 4 victims in this particular case, you want justice and you want it now. And the longer this case goes, the more likely it becomes a cold case. Sometimes the police just need to look at it and say, we need your help. And I don't know why, if it's just because they don't want to look like they cannot handle a homicide that has attracted the attention nationally. I just don't get it. Just ask for help. People do it all the time. The family of slain University of Idaho student Kaylee Gonsalves is hiring a lawyer as their relationship with the police continues to splinter while the sputtering investigation into the quadruple killing nears now its 4th week. Now, Mr. Gonsalves said there are things that we can request and things we can do to get to the truth faster. That's what Steve Gonsalves said in an interview. He continued that the family is interested in using an attorney to force police to release more evidence in the case. The family is also hiring a private investigator because they are fed up with delays, backtracks, and a lack of information from the Moscow Police Department, the Idaho State Police, as well as the FBI. He believes having an attorney will help put pressure on the agencies to provide answers, not only to his family, but the other victims, but the public as well. Now, the Moscow Police Chief, James Fry, also said in the interview that his detectives are still hard at work on the case, combing through evidence and interviewing potential witnesses. And although they've not identified a suspect or found a murder weapon, nearly a month after the killing of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Zena Kernodle, who were all found, obviously stabbed to death in their rented off-campus home built into a hill near the school on November 13th. 2 other roommates who lived in the house on the first floor, which had its own entrance, were not harmed, and the police don't believe that they had anything to do with the homicides. Now, the Moscow police also said that they had planned to remove personal belongings no longer needed in the investigation on Wednesday morning, and they actually showed up to do that today. And the police chief said that they are returning these items to the family because as a dad, he understands that the family wants some of these items back. Now, the Moscow Police Department has 36 members on its force, and they're obviously in charge of leading this investigation. They put out another statement saying that, once again, these personal items will be transported to a secure storage location where the family members can go view the items and retrieve the items that they want to take with them. And they insist that they are making progress on the investigation. I know the family is quite concerned that this case is going to go cold. The police chief is confident that his investigators will not let the case go cold. But here we are almost 4 weeks into this investigation with no leads whatsoever. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's cold. Just saying. Finally, the murder trial for both Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell is now scheduled to begin on April 3rd of 2023. Set your calendar, block out 12 weeks. I assure you, CrimeTalk will be going there sometime during the trial. I'm not sure why it's going to take 12 weeks, but set your trial date. That's when it's going to go. Unless, of course, competency rears its ugly head again, or there's a motion to continue based upon being an effective assistance of counsel. Yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. The way things have gone so far there, I wouldn't hold my breath, but I hope I am wrong. We'll see if the state of Idaho can get some justice for JJ and Ty Lee. First, Idaho. The police chief, where the 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death, appeared a little bit unaware of the report that the front door of the house was allegedly wide open hours after the killings. Now, he was speaking Thursday at a Christmas parade, and Chief James Fry said the report in which a neighbor noticed that the front door was wide open about 8:30 a.m. in the morning after the homicides was news to him. Chief Fry could neither confirm nor deny whether the door was in fact left open, and it was previously stated the house had no visible signs of a break-in. He said, quote, "I'm not even sure where that came from, to be quite honest." He did say that he could neither confirm nor deny whether the door was in fact left open. "I don't even know the answer to that one. If I did, I would probably comment on that, but I don't know the answer whether the door was open," end quote. Thank you, Chief Fry. Your leadership is inspiring. And for those who aren't familiar, a neighbor did say that the front door, which gives access to the floor where the 2 victims' roommates were staying, was open at 8:30 a.m. on November 13th. Police have said that they believe the murders happened sometime between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. on that morning. And the Moscow police said earlier that it is probing movements of Mr. Chapin and Miss Kernodle, who visited a frat house where Ethan was a member hours before the murders. Police believe Ethan and Zaina visited the Sigma Chi house from about 9 p.m. on November 12th until about 1:45 a.m. on the 13th, when they returned to Zaina's off-campus home, just a brief walk away from where the murders took place. Now, Ethan was a member of the frat, and apparently there were no cameras in the Sigma Chi house that might aid in the investigation. Now, Ethan and Zaina were both 20 years old, and they were dating when they were stabbed to death, along with Zaina's roommate, Kaylee Gonsalves and Madison Mogan, in their home, obviously, what they shared while they were sleeping. Police still have no suspects and have not located a murder weapon. Earlier appeals to the public has focused on Kaylee and Madison's activities on the night of the murders, which involved stops at a sports bar and a food truck. Police investigating the murders have received such an influx, though, on the tips related to their search of that white Hyundai Elantra sedan spotted near the crime scene that they've enlisted the FBI, their call center, in fact, the FBI call center. Now, this comes just days after the Moscow Police Department scaled back their probe and removed a quarter of the officers assigned to the case, while insisting that it is still the department's lead case that they're investigating. With the amount of tips coming in, calls are being directed to the FBI center, to which they are going to process the information according to the police. Now, police said the 2001 to 2013 Hyundai Elantra was spotted in the immediate area of the off-campus house where the students were stabbed to death in the early morning hours of November 13th. Thousands of tips are being sorted. This is apparently a global call center, and it has the resources to take those calls and categorize them and send them to investigators so they can utilize those tips in the investigation, the police said. Apparently, there's been some 6,000 tips received in this case. I'm sure everybody that has somebody with a Elantra in their neighborhood has been called in that particular tip. Police don't say that exactly why they want to talk with this person, but they would like to simply speak with the person. The unknown car has an unknown license plate as well. Now, you hope that the FBI call center does a little bit better than the FBI assistance that they received in the Richard Allen case on the Delphi homicides. As you recall, it was the FBI contract employee in that particular case that took down the report of Mr. Allen stating that he was in the area on the day of the alleged murders on the Delphi case, but it got misclassified, and police apparently didn't know about Mr. Allen for 5 years. Your FBI tip department helping out there as well. Let's hope they get a little better on this investigation. Anyway, so in this particular case, in the Moscow Police Department is leading the investigation with the assistance of the Idaho State Police, the local sheriff's office, and as well as the FBI. Like I said, they have scaled that back to 6 detectives with a support staff. They apparently have 48 FBI agents and at least 30 Idaho State Police officers, plus a separate forensic unit. But the department insists it is still the lead agency after it received a $1 million grant from the state to expand the manhunt, which now enters its 4th week without a suspect or a murder weapon.